How many locations you have right now?
Right now, we have 2 locations that are fully online. When we look at it on a kind of a rolling 30-day basis, we're probably due close to 10,000 in top line revenue.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? 10K?
Yeah, 10K. And it's wild.
Those are
man.
2 good ones to start off with. It's incredible. All right, cool. So we have Andy Kunselman, joining us here today. So really excited to talk with Andy, hear a little bit about his story, everything like that as well. So how's it going, Andy? How's your day so far?
Good, Anthony. How are you, man? Appreciate you guys having me on very much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really excited to kind of go ahead and have you on and, just hear a little bit more about your journey and everything. So as you were contemplating about joining Vendingpreneur, what was the problem you were experiencing prior to joining Vendingpreneurs? What was the reason why you were looking to join?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I remember it was kind of the beginning of 2025. And if I recall correctly, kind of over that Christmas to New Year break holiday. And Mike had showed up in my Instagram feed. And I don't know really how, right? I'm sure I was talking to somebody about vending in some capacity for him to show up in there. And I gave it a like, and next thing you know, right, it just kind of kept popping up into my feed. And, I just started to take an interest in it, right? Having kind of listened to what he was talking about, did a few of his videos on YouTube. And I had always been what I thought was, entrepreneurial in terms of my career. I've been in the retail industry for 25 years, and 2025 had been a year that I was looking to maybe step away from the corporate world and what I would call the 7 to 7 grind. And, had done a lot of research throughout kind of the front half of 2025. And then my partner and I, Keith, made the decision to invest in Vendingpreneurs. It was August of 2025. And we made, the investment, joined the community, thank God. And then I stepped away from my corporate career at the end of September. So the timing was really nice for me and for us. And we felt really comfortable because we had done what we thought was just a lot of research, right, on the industry, had been tapping into, Mike's content. Obviously, you were a part of that content, and just felt more comfortable that hey, man, we've had really good, corporate careers. Let's go apply what we've learned, in this industry more than anything. And that was kind of the genesis to where we are today.
Got it. Did you guys look into any other type of businesses besides vending? Did you guys look at car washes, rental real? Was there anything else that that you guys kind of did some due diligence about?
We didn't do any due diligence, right? Over a cocktail, on the weekends, we certainly would be hey, man, wouldn't it be cool to own a laundromat or a parking lot, right? And it was that'd be cool, man. We wouldn't have to really work all that hard, right? And the one thing that we did, commit to each other and understand was going into the vending business was a little bit more of a strategic decision for us, right? Because we knew we were going to have to work, right? And we just said to each other, the energy that we put into this is the energy that we're going to get out of it. It's not going to be a completely passive opportunity, but that was motivating for us, right? So, we didn't really explore anything else to your question.
Got it. So then what was the deciding factor, why you guys chose to join Vendingpreneurs? What was it? You get all the information, you figure out exactly how much the community cost, and then walk me through that whole mindset and just your whole process there of why you made that decision to even move forward then.
Yeah. I think at the time that we made the decision, what was most appetizing to us was the ability for lead generation, right? Through, our client success partners, right, within the VP community. And, when you're starting out in this and you don't really know anything about it, when you have a team of people who are there to help generate leads for you, that was really appetizing because it felt hey, man, we're starting on second base as opposed to starting in the batter's box, right? When it comes to that was of high interest to us, right? And I would say that was the big motivating factor. We knew tacitly about everything else that was, offered within the community, right? Between Vend Market, Vend Hub, and all the work that was happening around Vend Insights. So we were hey, that's going to be really cool, down the road, but we just didn't really know what that meant. Right. I think in hindsight, now we've call it 90, 120 days into this, I think everything else that is brought to the community members, right, through the holistic ecosystem of the BP platform, I would say is much more appetizing to us than just the lead generation component to it. Right. But at the time when we were really made the jump, it was oh, cool, man, we're going to have somebody help us generate leads.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you kind of just said it there. So 90, 120 days in the program. So when did you join? how far are you into it like right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of like walk me through that.
Yeah, for sure. So we joined at the end of August of 2025. There was kind of a 45-day period where we joined and we were just learning, right? We were
Yeah.
spending a tremendous amount of time on school, connecting with people, listening to firsthand experiences, which was really valuable because I was still in my full-time corporate world career at the time. So
Yeah.
for me, like that 45-day period of just kind of soaking everything up was really cool. And then, like I said, at the end of September, I had the opportunity to kind of walk away from that corporate world. So then I went full tilt into pop-ins, building some of the collateral for the business, right? The flyers, we built a website ourselves and went really high on all that stuff. But it was, I would say between, call it the end of September and the end of November, it was in the car, on the road, popping into places, making yourself feel uncomfortable, right? Because you're like, man, these people are going to say no, right? And
Yeah.
it's like you tell yourself that all the time. And it was that. But that part of it was also fun, right? Because it's like, hey, man, if we get, 10 people and 9 out of the 10 say no, that would seem like a failure, right?
Yeah.
Or you could say, I got 1 out of 10 and look at it as a
Exactly.
success. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Exactly. 100%.
So that was like really, really cool for us. It was energizing. I think like the mentality for us, Anthony, maybe for me in particular, having that feeling in the work that you do where you're the only backstop, right? You
Yeah.
got nobody else covering your ass, pardon my
You're
language,
leveraged.
right? And that feeling will motivate you. And if it does motivate you, I think that can translate into a lot of success, right, in this business because you're like, man, I got to make this happen or nobody else is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So you join the community, you're putting 45 days, you're getting after it, going through like the
Yeah.
modules of schoolwork, networking, connecting. You're still
Yeah.
working your 7 to 7 corporate job. Like walk me through,
Yeah.
like when did you find the time to do it? Like when were you watching and networking and doing all this stuff? Were you doing it during your lunch hour, in the morning, at night? Like what
I was
talk me.
doing it at night. Yeah. I was doing it at night, hanging out on the couch with my wife, right? She's watching a show and I'm on the phone and she's like, what are you scrolling? And I'm like, I'm not scrolling. I'm watching, a video on, what it takes to stock a machine or what kind of machines to buy or how to conduct pop-ins or how to build a
Yeah.
business flyer, right? Like all that stuff, right? For me, it was just that was the time that I was using to learn, about all of those things. I think my wife questioned a lot of it. She's like, are you really doing this? She's like, are you going to go like find another corporate job? Right. And I'm like, no, I'm
Mhm.
spending the time to do this, right? Because I'm going all in. Right.
No, that's awesome. What about then, like, even as you're working the corporate, you kind of went through that 45 days of training, watching all that stuff. You felt comfortable to kind of go ahead and take the leap. Even
Yeah.
before you left your corporate job, how did you like even incorporate that into your way of life of doing that pop-ins and finding that time to go ahead to do it?
For me, it was a little bit more of like ripping the Band-Aid off, right? Because
Okay.
in my corporate job, I was commuting, right? So I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was commuting to Philadelphia, right? Every single week. So I didn't really have
Mm.
any time in that initial stage to do pop-ins. And I just wasn't going to do it on the weekends because I was already away from the family. But like I said, once I had at the end of September, when I walked away and stepped away from the corporate world, I immediately went full tilt, right? I think it was like the day after. I didn't even take like 24 hours to recharge. It was like, I'm getting in the car and I'm going to go start doing these pop-ins. And that was, really just how it kind of happened and created itself, so to speak.
Got it. Everybody, I appreciate you guys watching. Click the button below, subscribe to the channel. Andy, talk me through. Okay, so about 120 days in, you joined at the end of August. How many locations do you have right now?
Yeah, so right now we have 2 locations that are fully online. We have 2 additional locations that are coming online actually next week on Monday.
Nice.
So we've been taking this week just to really put the final touches on, all the preparation that goes into that. And then we've got 2 what I would describe as really, really hot leads that for us we think could be transformational in terms of, their volume capability, right, and their foot traffic. So we're a little bit this week like finalizing those 2 that are coming online and then waiting to hear if we're going to, proceed with these other 2, which is a little bit odd for us because waiting for those other 2, we haven't really gone heavy on pop-ins, right, since the new year because we've been working these 2 hot leads really, really hard. If they happen, they're big enough where it's like we might be glad we weren't doing pop-ins to go acquire new locations just because of, what that's going to take for us. But
Yeah,
good problems to have nonetheless.
for sure. So when did you install your first 2 locations? What did location 1 and location do? Like when did you install those?
Yeah, so the two locations are actually under the same business owner. They just happen to have two different locations down here in Charleston. We did the installations with them the week before Christmas, so the week of December the 16th. And we were like, hey man, this is going to be really wild to try and do this before Christmas. And
Yeah.
then you're traveling and like, who's going to stock the machines and all that kind of stuff. We did a lot of due diligence, Anthony, and conversations with this business owner around, hey, what was the foot traffic? What were the demographics of their customers? So, Keith, my partner that I mentioned, comes from the finance world. So he did a lot of, I'll call it napkin math for us, right? To try and
Yeah.
assess like, hey, what is the opportunity? And that helped us a lot, right? Figure out like, hey, what was the size of the prize for this? What was that going to mean in terms of, inventory turnover and all the kind of the retail, math metrics that, I knew from my entire career. It allowed us to feel really comfortable, going into it because we said, listen, once we actually launch these things, we're going to learn a lot, number one, because we're not going to get it right out of the gate. But from an execution perspective, drawing on all of our backgrounds, we knew that we could execute, meaning stocking machines, placing orders for new product, and what the rhythm of all that needed to look like. We felt really comfortable with that, in large part because of, all the things that we learned, within the community, right? Between,
Yeah.
vend market and buying product and, vend equipment with like what machines were we going to buy, so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know you're like a little bit under 30 days on on those first couple locations. And then I know,
Yeah.
with the holidays there's probably like a little bit of a dip of activity there just because people
Yeah.
weren't working or were there. What is the projection of what you're going to be seeing like at those two locations per
Yeah.
month?
So right now, when we look at it on a kind of a rolling 30-day basis, we'll probably do close to 10,000 in top line revenue out of those two locations combined.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
10K?
10K, right, on those two locations. And it's wild,
Those are
man.
two good ones to start off with. Oh my
They're two
gosh,
good
dude.
ones, dude. Yeah. And, I would say
It's incredible.
it was really incredible. It's funny, man, because like it was pretty much within what we expected. And I say that because we knew these places were 7-day a week, high foot traffic locations. And
Warehouse?
each day, fitness centers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, we had a feeling like the members that they had and, what that looked like. And again, the demographics, we were like, man, there's got to be something here. And the business owner was really transparent with us around sharing data, right? Because they were kind of doing this on their own, but they weren't doing, a fantastic job at it.
Yeah.
So before we went into it, we knew them and they were very transparent and open to sharing like, hey, here's what we do today. Here's what it generates. And that helped us a lot, right? Because
Yeah.
we were kind of able to take that data and use it to our advantage as we thought about what it could mean for us.
My gosh, dude.
I wish
10K.
there were a lot of 10,000 top line locations out there.
But honestly, like that's what excited me about this business of getting into it because like I had to replace a W-2 income just like you did, right? And
Yeah.
it could take one to kind of like change your life or be the catalyst for your route and have it be done. And like, that's what excites me every single time because you don't know when you walk into that place, like, is this going to be a $2,000 location or could it be up to a potential of 10,000? Now, me personally, I don't have any routes or I don't have any locations on my route that are anywhere close to, I mean, not close, but like I have a lot that range between $5,000 and like $7,000. I got one that we just switched the location where it at in the building from a workspace area into the lobby. And, we're looking to do like $9,000, which I'll have like final numbers of the first 30 days on that and the next couple of weeks. But it takes just one dude to kind of just really get you and shows you and says, hey, you know what? This business is real and you can do it, That's one thing that excites me. Yeah.
1,000%. And I think one of our big takeaways was this first 30 days or 45 days that we're into this, it helped us really, really learn what does it take on a week to week basis to actually run the business, right?
Yeah.
And what rhythm do you want to be in when it comes to placing orders for new product? How frequently do you have to be there to stock machines? What is your warehousing system look like? I think I mentioned to you in our conversation, right? And like it's underneath the house and
exactly
working well now, but it gave us confidence too that like as we go after and target larger locations, right, warehouses, etc., that we're gonna know going into that how to execute, right? And that wouldn't necessarily be a huge concern for us.
Gotcha. Talk me through a little bit about you're fresh into this 120 days. You got two locations that are going to be doing $10,000 a month in top line revenue, two other hot locations that you're waiting on here. They're going to be, a huge add to your business and your portfolio. Like,
Yep.
Talk me through, how has this, like, made this your life different of you being an entrepreneur now instead of being, like, in the corporate W-2 world, 7 to 7? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
talk me a little bit about.
I can say as genuinely as I can, it's changed my life, right? I just feel so much more energized around the work that we are doing. It's fun, right? There's new challenges and there's new things that we're learning every single day, right? New roadblocks, new barriers, but that stuff to us is really fun, right? For me personally, it's been beyond motivating and beyond energizing, right? Like I just felt like I was at this point in life where I was like, I got to take everything that I know and, do it myself. So I would say the mental energy I have, and I think the physical energy that I have because I'm doing something new that is really, really cool, and in my opinion, has really changed, my life from what it was 12 months ago, right? I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm not commuting anymore, so I see my kids every day. I see my wife every day. I'm coaching my son's, football teams and like all those things that I heard when I was, researching this and listening to Mike. I can just say as simply as I can, like it's true and it's real, right? Having said that, like we're working hard, right? But we like
Yeah.
that. We're not, I said it before, it's like the energy you put in is the energy you get out.
Yeah. No, 100%, 100%. Yeah, just a couple more questions, and then we'll kinda go ahead and wrap up and everything like that as well too. But dude, like, your story is pretty inspiring. I can't believe that $10,000, like, on your first couple locations where you first went into. Like, you're gonna learn so much, how you're gonna be a better operator, like, with just those 2 locations with the high volume. You're gonna be able to perfect your processes, as you continue to go forward. Like, it's pretty powerful. What are, like, your goals, like, that you're looking to do for your route? Like, what is it looking to do? Like,
Yeah.
what are some of your goals here for 2026?
Yeah. So we have really one kind of simple goal, right, in 2026. And it was through the lens of, how many machines do we want to have in our portfolio, right? And we have in the 2 locations we have today, there's a total of 4 machines. And by the end of 2026, we put a goal out there to have 20. We're generally conservative, right, when we plan for the business because we just like to under promise and over deliver. My dad tells me we set the bar too low and that's not acceptable, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
If so by the end of the year, if we have 20 machines, we'll be pleased, but that won't be the finish line for us, right? It'll be how does 20 become 40? How does 40
Yeah.
become 80? How does 80 become, 150? But we're really, really comfortable with a multi-year outlook on how we grow the business, right? And we know that not every location is going to be a $10,000 location, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we know that it'll take, time and energy, right, to be able to grow it the way that we think we can grow it ultimately.
Got it. Where do you think you would be right now if you didn't join the Vendingpreneur program?
Oh gosh, man. I honestly think that I would be sitting here not in my career role that I had, right? Sitting at home trying to figure out what was next.
Mm.
I honestly think that's where I would be today, right? If I had not taken the opportunity to join the community. Like I really, really believe that. Because I was at a point on the career side where I was like, man, I know I'm gonna walk away from this, right? I know I
Mhm.
gotta be done. And had I not really been engaged and had the opportunity to join the community, I think I'd be sitting here today saying, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Right. And that
Yeah.
for me would just be a really awkward, ugly feeling. Right. Because I think you just like to know what's in the pipeline and what's coming ahead of you, so to speak.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
that's where I'd be for sure. No
Got
doubt.
it. If someone was on the fence about joining Vendingpreneurs, what would you tell them?
Believe in yourself, period, end of story. Right. Like it is a hard mental block to jump to say, holy cow, I'm going to go do this. And I'm the one that has to make this happen. Right. And that's a scary, disruptive feeling for most people. Right. I would just say, believe in yourself. Right. Because you said it earlier, it just takes one. Right.
Yeah.
And when you get that one, it may not be the best in the world. That's okay. But that first one especially brings all of the learnings, right? All of the know-how along with it. And just believe in yourself, right? Take the leap. That would be my biggest encouragement. Like all the fears that you have around, how am I going to run the business? To your point, what are my processes going to be? What does route need to look like? Do I got to hire people? All that stuff. I would say don't worry about it. Right? It's almost like just go do it and learn those things on the fly, right? Because you're never going to be perfect. I know I certainly wasn't
Yeah.
before you ever have that first machine placed, right? So don't worry about those things and be comfortable with the fact that you'll learn on the fly and those learnings will come within the first 24 hours, right? And you'll just feel better about it and more comfortable, with every passing day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What would you say to somebody that was, like, worried about the community? "Hey, this is a lot of money to, spend to just get into the community, to just learn,
Yeah.
from this person, that person. Is the content, is the networking even valid?" Is
Yeah.
there one of the biggest things of what got
Mm,
me into it and what got my wife into it was I basically told her it was a pseudo board of directors, and then once
yeah.
she understood that analogy that I gave her, she was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I mean, this is a no-brainer, so we'll be able to skip a
Yeah.
step," you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think in my view, the power of having people that you can connect with, right, who
Mhm.
can give you points of view and perspective and insights, like, I don't think you can underestimate that, and I wouldn't know where to lead anybody to acquire that outside of what we offer within the community, right?
Yeah.
To me, I don't look at it as an expense, right? I look at it as a really strong investment in helping your business ultimately become successful, profitable, scalable, because the knowledge and the learnings that are there through other people in the community, like you, like Mike, right? I've made connections with people who
Yeah.
I never knew these people, right? But they make a post, right? And you're like, oh man, that's pretty cool. I'm going to follow that person. Next thing you know, you're DMing with people and, you're troubleshooting, like, hey, I ran into this issue. How'd you deal with that? If I didn't have that, right, or anybody else in the community who was trying to do this didn't have that, I think it would be infinitely more difficult, right, to be able to get into this business. Could it be done? Yeah, sure. I think it'd be a lot more challenging and disruptive, right, to your psyche.
Yeah.
So
No,
for
for
me,
sure.
that's like the value for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dude, I appreciate you coming on. I can't wait to see what 2026 is gonna go ahead and bring you and beyond that. You've been a huge asset to the community here over the past 4 months of being part of it. I'm just really excited to kinda just follow you and just see where you're headed here for 2026, and, I mean, you're off to a hot start here with those first
Yeah.
2 locations that you ever got with that top line revenue, man. I mean, that's pretty powerful, and yeah, I mean, dude,
Well,
it's gonna
listen,
be
man,
absolutely.
I appreciate it very much. And, genuinely for those who are going to listen to this, right? Having people like you where you didn't know me from the man on the moon, right? And
Yeah,
you sent me a note and you gave me your phone number. You're like, hey, man, text me, call me, let's catch up. And it was like, for somebody like me, that was invaluable. And I think not only you, but everybody else within the community has that same mentality. And if that's
yep,
not the biggest promotional, shout that we can give for being a part of Vendingpreneurs, I don't know what is. And, I appreciate what, you and Mike and Tom and everybody behind the scenes are doing to
yeah,
really invest in the platform, right? It's
yeah.
not just about the community. It's about the insights and all the different capabilities that the team and you and Mike are building is fantastic and it's certainly going to help people.
Yeah, no, for sure, and I
So,
appreciate that. So, guys, that was Andy's story. If you're interested in joining Vendingpreneurs along other successful vending operators like himself, then click on the link below to book a call with us today. Andy, again, brother, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on here, and we'll
likewise,
talk to you,
Anthony.
man. Appreciate it.
All right,
All right,
Ben. Thanks so much.